over the years. He's a true nationalist, a spiritualist, and is rooted to his birthplace, Coimbatore. The current generation of Coimbatore, like us, is fortunate to have people like Rajesh here. The current generation of Coimbatore is fortunate to have people like Rajesh here, who has a reservoir of information on the history and glorious heritage of Coimbatore. His research on Coimbatore is an eternal asset for the future generations to come. I am very delighted, I am very happy to introduce our Rajesh Govindrajalu to this August gathering. Welcome, Rajesh.
Thank you so much. Very kind words. I hope I live up to your expectations. My dear friends from the Rotary Club of Coimbatore Central, your club is full of veterans. I think many of their experiences are more than my age even. And they've excelled enormously in their lives, professionally and personally, and have contributed a lot towards the society. I'm really grateful to acknowledge your role with regard to the works done in the Vedapatti area along with Sirutuli, of which I'm an apex body member. And I thank all of you for the contribution personally and on behalf of the organization first. Now coming to this topic, when Ashish Kemka wanted me to speak, he wanted me to speak about Coimbatore. I said, many of the Rotarians in Central are senior people. They would probably know a lot more about Coimbatore than myself. Then I decided and discussed with him. I thought it is possible to talk about the 2000-year-old textile history of this region. Well, it's very interesting, and we will travel through the 2000 years over the next 20 minutes or so, a little more than 20 minutes. Long ago, Julius Caesar was about to be the emperor of Rome. He was assassinated and he was succeeded by his brother Augustus Caesar. This happened around the 1st century AD, which we now call as the Common Era, but for all of us it is AD only. What happened was, Coimbatore was a small network of villages which was located near the Palakkad Gap. People used to pass through Coimbatore those days. Lot of merchants from the Mediterranean countries, particularly from Rome, used to come here. There was a Roman settlement at Vellalur, they say. So what did they take from here? Cornelian jewelry, this agricultural implements, and cotton textiles. All of you must have seen the movie Ben-Hur, must have seen the movie Cleopatra, the dress worn by Julius Caesar and the other Roman senators, that is known as the Roman toga. The fabric was for the toga was from Coimbatore region. Okay, and in return, we got a lot of gold and silver coins from Rome. So much so, coins of 25 Roman emperors are found in our region when we excavate. Augustus Caesar to Constantine, about 25 Roman emperors can be covered here. You will find a lot of coins belonging to Tiberius. Where is the proof? Yes, there is a proof. There is a book called Roman Karur written by Dr. Nagaswamy. Then you look at Dinamalar Krishnamurthy's 5 books which talk about all the silver, gold and other material coins belonging to one kingdom found in Egypt. Out of 100 coins of Roman origin, most of the coins are in Tamil Nadu and most of it in the Congo country and all nearby. So Coimbatore was a very, very important place. What were these agricultural implements? Karuvela Marathile Seiyum Kalapai. You know, find this Karuvelam tree on all these water bodies. There's a debate going on whether you should have them there or it should be outside.
இதுல ஜூம் ஒர்க் பண்ணோம்னா என்ன பண்ணணும்னு தெரியுமா?
And they are able to absorb water also.
போடுங்க.
But,
ஏன் இல்ல எடுத்துட்டேன், எல்லா மெமரி நிறைய இருக்கு.
so it
அது
is
தப்பா காட்டுதுப்பா.
possible to use those things for making agricultural implements which were used in the distant Roman Empire. So this business went on for a few centuries, so much so that we drained a lot of Roman gold and silver, just like how Japan, China and Korea began to drain the foreign exchange reserves of other countries. India drained the gold and silver of several of these countries, and particularly the Roman Empire, and they wanted to pass a resolution to reduce the import of Indian goods. This was the setting, and it was under this setting that Roman merchants came and stayed in Vellore in order to act as merchandisers. It doesn't mean that people from here did not go there. Yes, they went there. We find small records of people going, people coming, some people not returning, some people staying back, some people staying back there. All these exchanges are taking place. The end of the Roman Empire brought an end to this kind of commerce. And slowly, Romans stopped coming here, but goods were always being taken out of South India. Over 100 seaports. You must understand that Gujarat has the longest coastline in India. Not many people are aware that Tamil Nadu has the second largest coastline, or the second longest coastline, measuring approximately 1072 kilometers. Kerala is less than 600 kilometers. Andhra Pradesh is less than 1000. Karnataka may be about 300 plus kilometers only is the coastline. It is only Gujarat and Tamil Nadu which have the longest coastlines and have a fabulous advantage when it comes to international commerce. In the peninsular nature of the south and the peninsular nature of Gujarat endowed these regions with international commerce. So time went by. About 100 ports were exporting cotton textiles out of India. For the first 1000 years of the Common Era, that is the first millennium of the AD period, India was the biggest economy in the world. Then after the 11th century until the 17th or 18th centuries, China was the first and India was the second. Then with the advent of the Europeans, India lost its place and its space. In 1800, we had an 18% share in global trade. In 1900, it became 1.8%. That will show how we must have suffered in terms of the textile business, because one of our major exports was textiles. Lala Lajpat Rai has written a book about the debt that England owes to India, and that was written in the year 1917. And he salutes the Europeans who were honest enough to share the information with him. So after the Roman Empire went, exports were going on. We didn't get Roman coins, but we started getting other coins. What is the proof for all this? The only statue of Apollo in the whole world, full statue of Apollo in the whole world is located in Erode, mind you. Not many people know of that. I have not seen it myself. I wish to go one day to the place where the only statue of Apollo, full Apollo, is there in the whole world. It's a pre-Christian deity belonging to the Mediterranean region. And then what happened? After the Romans, others came, went, exports were going on. Then the Cholas took over the Kongu country. Aditya Chola took away all the gold Roman coins found here. After hundreds of years, wherever it was hoarded, he managed to find the treasure. He took it from here. All that was foreign exchange surplus of this region. But a few hundred years later, Aditya Chola took gold from the Kongu country and Coimbatore particularly, and he used it to gild the Chidambaram Nataraja temple with gold. 875 to 1907 AD was the rule of Aditya Chola. He was the second Chola emperor, succeeding the main emperor Vijayalaya. So he took the gold from here, and the gold from Kungu country was used to put the Tanga Gopuram, or the cover the gold, cover the tower of the Nataraja temple with gold. So this region had dry land farming, so the cash crop was cotton. There was enormous seed diversity. So cotton was available, yarn was available, short staple cotton, but they knew how to spin it well and make fine fabrics, which were exported throughout the world. See, I am told, I'm not so much of an expert, though my family had a spinning mill those days, but machines only need long staple cotton to make fine stuff. But in hand, because of the spindle speed issue not being there, I was told that you could produce fine fabric with short staple cotton because it is hand spun and hand woven later. There was no friction or tension or speed of that kind involved here. Therefore, it had been possible. I recently had the opportunity to see a complete exhibition of Khadi at Lakshmi Mills during the last, one of the recent Coimbatore villas. 200 cotton also. It was amazing. People made all that here. So this dryland farming was going on. And then in the 14th century, we are quickly jumping, but the fact is that's a very important moment. Malik Kafur and later the Tughlaqs invaded South India between 1311 and 1327, and they destroyed all the South Indian empires. The Yadavas of Devagiri, the Kakatiyas of Warangal, the Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra, and the Pandyas of Madurai. All the 4 empires were destroyed, and the Sri Ranganatha temple and Meenakshi Amman temple were shut and kept for decades together. Then the brave Prince Kumara Kampanna in 1368 came along with a large army from modern Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh and released the people of Kerala and Tamil Nadu from the clutches of the kind of rulers who were refusing them any freedom. So 1368 he comes to Kolumam, 1371 I think he throws them out of Madurai, the Sultan is thrown out. 1374 he passed away. 1377 I think the last war was perhaps fought. So from Hampi on the banks of Tungabhadra till Kanyakumari, it became the Vijayanagar Empire. The emperor was known as Trisamudradipati, the lord of the land which is surrounded by the 3 oceans. The Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. So at that time, bigger migration started taking place into the Coimbatore region. The Telugu and Kannada speaking farmers and weavers started coming inside. Huge number of cotton farmers who were good with black cotton soil farming came along with their seeds, and they added to the types of cotton and cotton diversity in the Coimbatore region. They built these small and nice Renuka temples. They came with their seeds. They settled down in the dry lands, and they added to the wealth and prosperity of the region. Meanwhile, the Devanga weavers, after the Battle of Talikota and even before, what happened was they moved over to this region. The Kannada speaking people went off to the villages. The Telugu speaking people came and settled in smaller towns. Both of them same profession, and their deity was Ramalinga, continues to be Ramalinga Saudeshwari, Soundamman. We have a temple in Raja Street, Patagudi, Patavidi. I think the one Kottavidi is near Sukravarpet. I'm sure there must be many more temples. And there near Padavedu Renuka temple, there is an old Soundamman temple. Everyone passed through Padavedu and Tondamandalam and then only came here. Padavedu was Padaiveedu. Does that mean that all these people came into Tamil Nadu only in the 14th century? Not really. They have come here before itself. The Pallavas were feudatories of the Satavahana Empire, and later Kulothunga Chola came from Rajamundri. He was the grandson of Rajendra Chola and great-grandson of Rajaraja Chola. In 1070, when there was an end of the Chola kingdom with no male heirs, they brought Kulothunga here, and at the age of 40, and he ruled for another 50 years. It was his grandson, the second Kulothunga, who made Sekilar right to Periyappa. So, I digressed slightly, but just to make you understand that people were always moving about between all the parts of the country. Then what happened was, these farmers did a lot of cotton cultivation and weaving. All of this was taking place. And afterward, getting some sound. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Rajesh. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
There is some disturbance. We'll try to figure it out.
Yeah. No. That's all right. I was wondering if someone was finding it difficult to listen. So.
No, we normally don't throw vessels at speakers if their talk is not interesting. There's some vessel which is being thrown elsewhere. So don't worry. Go ahead.
No problem. So we had the Indian textiles were exported to Europe also, and we made a lot of money, and that's how East India Company came to a number of places for that purpose. There were these Dubashis who traveled well into the country to search for these products. Dubash means two languages, Dvibashi. And after the Industrial Revolution, cotton was being exported and fabric was being imported, and we lost our edge. In the 19th century, newer varieties of cotton were brought into Coimbatore. Some varieties succeeded, some varieties did not succeed. So, where is the proof with regard to the 100 seaports that were exporting cotton textiles? Dr. Vijaya Ramaswamy of JNU, I met her during the Tamil Semmoli Mahanad. She has written about these 100 seaports which were exporting cotton fabrics between the 10th and 18th centuries AD. So the cotton farmer, the weaver, all of them thrived very well. And Coimbatore became a prosperous city. For it had a fort built during the Vijayanagar period. And the Oppanavaru Vidhi was the tax collector street. There was a treasurer called Gajanchi. You know who in the 19th century was a treasurer? Gajanchi Kuppuramayya. Rotarian Gurumurthy, who holds Natyanjali. It is his grandfather's grandfather or great-grandfather was the treasurer of Coimbatore city. And Coimbatore city town also had bodyguards who belonged to the Jetty community, who used to teach people how to maintain their physique so that they stay away from invasions. So now let us come to the 19th century, because we knew what was happening with the farmers, what was happening with the weavers, what was happening with the Europeans. India was exporting raw materials and importing finished goods, and the country started bleeding. People came into penury. 1877, Iswara Varadattu Panjam in Kongunadu, if I'm not mistaken, 150,000 people died because of the famine. Unheard of in the earlier centuries. And then we find people like S.P. Narasimha Naidu, A.T. Thiruvengadasamy Mudaliyar wanting to do something interesting. S.P. Narasimha Naidu was Salem Pagadala Narasimha Naidu. He went for the Indian National Congress session in Bombay in 1885. And he saw mills there, and he thought, for our salubrious weather, we can have mills in Coimbatore. And in his farm land, which was next to his property, he helped Sir Robert Staines to start the Coimbatore Spinning and Weaving Company Limited in 1888. Was that the first limited company? No. 1883, the first limited company was Janopakara Bank Limited, started by Ratnasabapati Mudaliar's father, Sadasiva Mudaliar. So the first mill came, and the signatory to memorandum was Diwan Bahadur Agatur Muthuramaswamy Kalingrayar, the Zamindar of Uthipuli, was signatory to the memorandum. The share structure was mostly with Sir Robert Staines. So that was the first modern mill. And then the cotton farmers started using the cycle in 1895 to go from after 1895 to go up till Sankagiri, Perundurai, Erode to indulge in cotton farming. So who brought this cycle to Coimbatore? Fraser, the secretary of Robert Staines. Now 125 years old, the cycle is in Coimbatore. Instead of horses, train cannot go to Perundurai, Erode and Sankagiri. They had to go to on horses, bullock carts. It took time. So with cycle, 4 or 5 people will go together and come. Diwan Bahadur, P.S.G. Rangasamy Naidu, his elder brother Venkatasamy Naidu, younger brothers Ganga Naidu and Narayanasamy Naidu went by cycle and came back. How hard they worked. If you look at the other side, Rao Bahadur V. Gopal Naidu, Mr. Ravi Sam's grandfather, G. and G. Purushottam Naidu's father, and his partner, R. Venkatasamy Naidu's father, V. Rangasamy Naidu, had a ginning factory in Avinashi. They used to go cycling all the way from here 100 years ago. No buses those days. Buses came only after 1920, I think. So these farmers worked really hard. They are fit people. So they started making money out of cotton trade. And then at that time, there was a mill called Malabar Spinning and Weaving Company Limited at Kallai. That mill belonged to the Zamindar of Devagotai. The mill was not doing well. The share was only being traded at 20 rupees per share in the Bombay Stock Exchange in about 1890s. So he sent this young man, P. Somasundaram Chettiar, to, turn the mill around. He turned the mill around, made it profitable. 20 rupees share became 550 rupees to 600 rupees by about 1897. Somasundaram Chettiar lived until 1929, I think. So what happened was, Somasundaram Chettiar was sent to Coimbatore, and the first Indian mill came up near the railway line opposite to CSNW Mills, which was known as Kaliswarar Mills. Then the mall mills, which became Somasundaram Mills. Somasundaram Chettiar minted money. In a few years, he returned all the capital invested as dividend. And he didn't have children. He adopted Satappan later. He sent Satappan to Europe to undertake a technical study of textiles. And Kamadhenu brand fabrics were introduced in Coimbatore. Even now, I don't know if that building is there. You can see Kaliswarar Mills, Kamadhenu. If you can notice that from the CSNW Mill side. So CSNW Mills was with the Staines family. Then it went to others. I think Diwan Bahadur C.V. Venkatramana Iyengar, C.B. Srinivasan's grandfather, he had a lot of shares. He was the one who brought in the advice to the government to bring in the Pillur water scheme. S.P. Narasimhan Naidu advised the government to bring in the Sirvani water scheme. Both these people were connected with the CSNW Mills. So these two mills were there. Then the PSG family people started Rangavilas Mills in 1922. Then Rosebud A.G. Gurusamy Naidu and family with 25%. And his other family, parallel family with 25%. R. Venkatasamy Naidu's father and uncle Abhay Naidu and V. Rangasamy Naidu with 25%. Gopal Naidu with 25%. They started Radhakrishna Mills about 1923-24. That was the second Coimbatorian mill. The first was Rangavilas. The second was Radhakrishna. Both the mills from Pilamedu people who had been on cycle for cotton trading. The mills grew, prosperity came. They became very wealthy. They acquired a lot of land and assets. They decided to send their children abroad to study in the 1930s. We know G.V. Doraiswamy Naidu, R. Venkataswamy Naidu, P.R. Ramakrishnan, So many, Professor G.R. Damodaran, G.K. Sundaram, Textul D. Balasundaram, so many people went abroad to study. And they came back to look after that. So in the 1930s, Dr. R.K. Shanmugam Chetty decided that more mills should happen. So he helped the import of equipment for Coimbatore cotton mills, for Lakshmi mills, for Vasanta mills, for Rajalakshmi mills. 4 mills. Import of equipment was with the help of Dr. R.K. Shanmugam Chetty. The Thailand farmers who started mills had the technology with people like T. Ramalingam Chettiar and R.K. Shanmugam Chettiar and C.S. Ratnasabhapati Mudaliar, who was managing Pankaja mills. And in return, those people helped the Thailand farmers to open letters of credit, to do the documentation, and some of them were presidents of the companies. T.T.R. Pillai, I think T.T. Ratnasabhapati Pillai, famous criminal lawyer, was the president of Lakshmi Mills, I think. And T. Ramalingam Chettiar, the father of the cooperative movement, was the president of Radhakrishna Mills. It was very collaborative, and the goodwill of all these people helped in raising capital. So they started Southern India Mills Association under the guidance of Dr. R.K. Shanmugam Chetty. I think with Sathapa Chettiar perhaps was at the helm of affairs, then Veerabhadra Chettiar of Dhanalakshmi Mills, then Kuppuswamy Naidu, who entered Lakshmi CS&W Mills as an industrial tourist by paying 1 rupee as fees. He started a ginning factory, then came up with several mills. He became a textile pioneer, and his son G.K. Devarajulu, the gentleman entrepreneur, brought in the great LMW collaboration later. He was the first to get an honorary doctorate from the Bharatiya University those days, along with Dr. Mahalingam. So these mill owners, several mills came up in the 1930s. Sharada Mills by V.S. Sengottaya, who owned the first Rolls-Royce car in Coimbatore. He gave 100 acres of land for the Perundurai T.A. Ramalingam to the sanatorium. Then all these mill owners got into the movie business also. R.K. Ramakrishnan Chettiar, the younger brother of R.K. Shanmugam Chetty, started Central Studios Limited in 1936, along with Selvaraja Mills and Venkatapati Naidu. S. Bhimne Chetty was president of the All India Weavers Association, and P.A. Raja Chettiar of P.A. Raja Chettiar and brother. They took a movie, it didn't do well, then they sold it to B. Rangasamy Naidu of Rajalakshmi Mills. But R.K. Ramakrishnan Chettiar was the main promoter. S.R.P. Ponnusamy Chettiar, great man. He was an amazing person. He understood the importance of spinning and mechanical weaving. He sent 6 out of his 7 sons abroad to study. Mind you, only 6 brothers who went abroad to study in Coimbatore must be them only. After Mr. Jagadeesan, I think all the other brothers, till Mr. Vijay Kumar or Varadarajan, all of them went abroad to study. He perhaps was one of the first people to use fiber spinning along with Balasubramania Mills perhaps. Then we had mill owner's son G.K. Sundaram going to jail in 1930 for the salt satyagraha. G. Kuppuswamy Naidu helping the freedom movement, helping the Congress party, Kovai Kadarayya Muthu, Kovai Subri, all of them worked with him. His rice mandi opposite to the municipality was given for the Congress office. Kuppuswamy Naidu went along with N.S. Ramasamy Iyengar to the 1919 Amritsar Congress when Pandit Nehru himself joined the Congress only at that time. So you can imagine, you can see how advanced people from Coimbatore were. V.C. Vellingiri Gounder, the great statesman who scripted the victory of the Congress party along with Rajagopalacharya in the Madras Presidency region, had Jnanambika Mills Limited, and he was a member of the Council of States. So all these people were amazing people. Jnanambika Mills region, if you go there, they will say Nool Office Totem. Okay? Nool Office Totem. I had customers in our shop who will say, you know, Urmandambalayam Lakshmi Ammal. Nool Office Totem. And you know, I used to ask, what is this Nool Office? She will say it is next to Jnanambika Mills, that is Nool Office. So many mills came up. You know, they were fantastic mill owners like G.R. Govindarajulu of Coimbatore Pioneer Mills Limited, G. Ramasamy Naidu of Kartikeya Mills, G.V. Dorasamy Naidu was known for his prudent management and high tax paying from the PSG family. Varadaraja Mills and Kumaran Mills, I think, were under his administration. Then you had Vijayalakshmi Mills, Kardivabi family. Then Kasturi Srinivasan, who went abroad, came back to look after Citra. The Southern India Textile Research Association was founded by under the advice of Shanmugam Chetty. He was the great man who had the vision to start the Chamber of Commerce, Southern India Mills Association, Citra, ensured that FICCI chairmanship came to Ratnasabhapati Mudaliar, and so much more that you can talk about him there. You can write books on his contribution. Then, of course, the Coimbatore Godumara Uppuma, which all of us are fond of. Not a day will pass without having at least a spoon of Uppuma. I know many of the Rotarians are extremely fond of the Uppuma. I'm also one of them. And that is a byproduct of this dryland farming. I've written a story on it, which I can share with all of you, which you can read at leisure and enjoy. So then textile machinery had to be made because repair started happening. World War II, Textool Balasundaram, the father of industry, he founded Textool with some of his friends, and full spinning equipment was produced indigenously. His uncle was V. Rangasamy Naidu of Radhakrishna Mills. So what happened? Every time during the weekend, he would send Everest Engineering Somasundaram to make molds or to copy, to draw, and then come back to Textile. But genius that he was, he at one time I think employed thousands of people, and Ganapati owes itself to him. Great man who refused a Padma Shri. He said, there are more deserving people, I will not take it. That's what I've heard. So these were the kind of people who ran the mills. Then technocrat entrepreneurs like K. Venkateslu was attached to CSNW Mills earlier. He also became chairman of SAIMA later, and he was a great golfer too. Of course, Gopal Naidu and his sons, they ran several mills. And the Gopal Naidu school owes itself to them. Some of the mills got consolidated, like Coimbatore Cotton Mills, there were other directors. So people moved places and things changed, and that is how more and more mills came up. One of the maverick entrepreneurs was Rajalakshmi Mills, B. Rangasamy Naidu. Tottavellam Ponnaru. He takes Central Studios, he bought it as a loss-making company, it started making solid profits. So it was he become a mill owner. I wanted to become a mill owner in the 90s. Unfortunately, it did not happen. So he built Surya Prabha Mills. So KTR built SRC Mills full. So just started. Then N.G. Ramasamy came in person. Lot of issues came up, but it got sorted out. So trade unionism also came inside. Later, P.S. Chinnadurai of the Praja Socialist Party was a famous trade person. We have to remind ourselves of the premier family, V. N. Ramachandran and N. Damodaran, for their modern techniques and standardization. Then, of course, the merchants, without whom things would not have moved. Gokuldas T. Raichura, Pratap Suresh and Arun Gokuldas's father. He was the man who made wealth out of waste. The first person to export cotton waste taken out of Coimbatore to the American people who were making jeans fabric with the waste out of Coimbatore. He was a great pioneer. Then you had Kalyani and Company. They had a mill also. Then, of course, Kikani, the Kikani family, Baldev Das Kikani school. G.K. Devarajulu went to Gujarat, to the Kikani village, their family village, where they started a commerce college. And in that commerce college, GKD has spoken about the contribution of the North Indian merchants to the wealth and well-being, particularly of the Kikani family, in his speech there in Gujarat. This has been acknowledged and mentioned by Chinnaswamy Naidu, the author of the biography on G.K. Devarajulu, A Life of Fulfillment. So coming to LMW now, G.K. Devarajulu, Saima, Citra with Citra K. Srinivasan and later Dr. Indra Sami and others has done amazingly well. Citra K. Srinivasan was a fabulous person, known for his interest in art, culture, heritage, has written a number of books, and there is a textile museum named after him, and he was awarded the Padma Bhushan, rightfully deserving so. And then let us come to the business of fibers. Now all of us must be, wondering why I never spoke about South India viscose. Yes, now the time.
Sorry for interruption, Rajesh. Can we take another 10 minutes and then go ahead with the Q&A session
That's
after?
all. After viscose, there's nothing much after this. So South India Viscose was founded in the 1950s by a group of smart mill owners under the leadership of R. Venkataswamy Naidu, who was known as the Birla of South India, and G.K. Devarajulu and others, with the collaboration with Cinia Viscosa Italy. And I must tell you, Gokuldas Tulsidas, again, the man who made wealth out of waste, about whom also I've written in the Hindu Metro Plus. I've written about many of these people, of course. And just to add, he had hosted Spinelli of a viscose company in his place. And Venkataswamy Naidu and G.K. Devarajulu set up the rayon factory. Then they went into viscose staple fiber. Then started making wood pulp. The company became big. Unfortunately, due to differences of opinion, the company went out of their hands. It went into the hands of Mistry. And then now it is no longer than, unfortunately. So viscose was a star of South India. And at a time when license was given to G.D. Birla for grassing, the industrialist from Coimbatore, particularly R. Venkataswamy Naidu, was very insistent that a license be given here. And the government of Tamil Nadu at that time, Kamraj, T.T. Krishnamachari, R. Venkatraman and others are also very cooperative and helpful. Therefore, companies like South India Viscose and Madras Aluminium Company, founded by Venkataswamy Naidu, could happen in Coimbatore. And believe me, those days foreigners used to come for machinery installation, and G.K. Devarajulu had learnt a lot from them. Him and G.N. Sam of CSNW Mills and K. Venkateslu and all had been to Japan prior to World War II. Nozaki family was very close to G.N. Sam and later to K. Venkateslu. Whenever K. Venkateslu went to Japan, they used to stand in the railway station, exactly in front of that railway bogie, and wait for K. Venkateslu to alight from the train and receive him. And they used to take him to their house for a tea ceremony. Japanese are never known not to take people to their houses, but they used to take him and go. Several other companies came. I must say, the Coimbatore weavers started getting a lot of cotton fabric, yarn, mill yarn, which they used to make saris, and they started exporting and sending saris out in a big way. About 400 types of pagdis for North Indians were made in Coimbatore. Verivada Chettiar, after whom Verivada School is named. He, I think, started 5 schools. He was a major manufacturer. He made solid money, and he started a school after Sharda, who was a reformer in Rajasthan. There is one Sharda school near the Teppakulam Maidanam. Everyone calls it Sharda, but it's actually Sharda, named after the reformer Sharda of the North, who insisted on women being educated and not being married off too early. Verivada Chettiar was very much appreciated. Sharda was very much appreciated by Verivada Chettiar. Therefore, the school was begun in that name. And these cotton weavers, no, the sari weavers, Devanga Chettiars, understood that you have to learn Hindi to thrive. So they started night schools for Hindi. And people used to learn Hindi, take saris, go sell in the north and come back. And many of them even speak Hindi very well today. There is one Siva Subramaniam, 80-plus-year-old Hindi master, who's taught about 30,000 people in Syrian Church Road. There's one Coimbatore Hindi Prachar Sabha. He's the secretary. If you go there and see, now it's of course COVID-19, but otherwise you can see him teaching. All these weavers learned Hindi. They succeeded well. One of my own teachers was trained under, probably under him only. A list of about 200 pandits was with him, who had done Visharat and Praveen. That Hindi came in only because of the textile business, cotton waste business, education, spare parts, the foundry business, textile machinery business, the buses, the logistics, everything came through that only. And of course, Verivada Chettiar was so careful. Every day in the office, he'll be weighing the tabal mail. Anything extra weight, he'll cut the letter, reduce the cost of post while using his time there. I took this information from Satapa Chettiar's son, P.S.S. Somasundaram Chettiar. That is, he was also adopted by his father. So he and people like Bhime Chetty helped all the mill owners on a number of tricky situations. Many of the bankers like the Kulur family and others, A.B. Krishnan, who used to be in LMW, K.M. Krishna, who used to be interested in the shuttle game, all their elders used to give pro-note loans to the mill owners so that they would get seed capital. While people like my grandfather, P. Raja Chettiar, found the mills to be very interesting because he would get more customers. So whenever a mill was started, he would subscribe 100 shares, 200 shares to the capital. Eventually, he would get customers from the mills. So the bonus used to be a big time for sales in our shop. So Coimbatore's economy got a pickup because of the textile industry. And then of course every other industry joined. And the Coimbatore-based people understood that modern education was very important. Many people went abroad to study. But G.R. Govindarajulu, though he only studied in India, Coimbatore was a fantastic mill owner. This was one of the cleanest mill. And the American consul had visited the mill and said, this is the cleanest mill that he'd ever seen in India. He was also a man with a very lucky hand. Some of the mill owners became motorsports experts and started flying, bridge players and politicians who became members of parliament like G.K. Sundaram on behalf of Swatantra Party, P.R. Ramakrishnan on behalf of the Congress Party. All these things happened. Then the Southern India Mills Association also grew rapidly. R. Venkatasamy Naidu was at the helm of affairs in the Southern India Mills Association almost for 25 years until the beginning of Viscose. He came in and became manager of Radhakrishna Mills at the age of 23, they say. In all his life, privately was known as manager. A very bold and courageous man who knew no fear. He was much feared and was known to be blunt and frank, but also at the same time extremely progressive in terms of business and technology. He and his team were the ones who bought land on Racecourse and built Southern India Mills Association. His family newspaper, edited by his brother, P.R. Ramakrishnan, published a souvenir at the time of the inauguration of the Saima building known as Shanmugam Mandram, in honor of Shanmugam Chetty, the first finance minister of India, in 1950s. And it's a beautiful collector's piece. Every mill owner, a short note is there. Then you must be wondering where else I got so much of information. I owe a lot of this information to Kovikkilar CM Ramachandran Chettiar, and then it was written Iduva Engal Kovai and Kongunattu Varalaru. And also I owe it to Coimbatore Nilgiris District Directory by R. Ramalingam, BA, who published one book in 1954 and another book in 1957. This has a complete list of all the textile machinery manufacturers, waste cotton merchants, yarn dealers, mill owners, managing agents, the spindlage of machines, of mills. Everything is available. It's in complete detail. I'm really grateful to Nagarajayar's son Srinivasan for giving me the 1954 directory. Then Eastern Electrical's Govindarajalu's son, Mr. Ravi, my father's good friend Ravi Anna, was no more, for giving me the 1957 directory, and enormous encouragement that I've received from several of my friends. R. Ramamohan, grandson of R.K. Ramakrishnan Jettiar, Perur Jayaraman, and Mrs. Vanitha Mohan, and so many others who have, Shankar Vanavarayar, with whom I've spent so much of time thinking about all these fabulous mill owners. Then, of course, A.T. Devaraj Mudaliar, we can never forget. September, one particular day, I think 18th, he founded Sundarapuram. After his wife Sundarabai Ammal, he started the Lotus Mills there with the school, Adilakshmi School, with the Tirumurti Temple, with the post office, with the police station, with the quarters for the employees, everything full-fledged completely. He had a permission to, but he was a machinery importing agency person also. Unfortunately, the World War II put a break to his business. He was the son of Rao Bahadur Thiruvengadasamy Mudaliar, after whom the Manikonda tower clock was established by his three sons, A.T. Lakshman Samy, A.T. Krishna Samy, and A.T. Devaraj Mudaliar in 1928. So I am really, I really don't know from where to where we can go. Obviously, we have missed out several people. Handloom Fabrics, K.S. Veeranna Chettiar, Vico Sarees. Then you have MCRR Fabrics, MCR Rajagopal Chetty. Many of these people were very well known to us. Now today, I know there are this Champalal Anish Kumar, Champalal Ashok Kumar, then Mahavir's family. They've taken Coimbatore textiles throughout the world. I make an open appeal to all of you here. So much of Ponnadai we are buying from elsewhere and giving. Why can't the Coimbatore people make a very nice Ponnadai which all of us can use? It can be our own product. It can be a Coimbatore signature Ponnadai. I can share some snippets of history which can be incorporated into these Ponnadais, which can be hand woven also. I'm looking at all the fourth generation mill owners now. Aditya Pati, the great grandson of Kuppusamy Naidu and son of Mr. Pati. I think Mr. Sanjay Jayarudhanavelu still is into spinning in some way. And R. Santosh of Lambodra Textiles, grandson of RVS and great grandson of Veerangasamy Naidu. Then you have PSG family, several of the family members, like I think Naren Karthikeyan must be there, fourth generation, he and his brother. Then Kapil Krishnamurthy and his brother must be sons of D. Krishnamurthy, fourth generation. So there are, very few fourth generation mill owners, but there are many third generation mill and second generation mill people. Some of the fourth generation, like Lambodra Textiles Limited, are doing very, very well. There are several stars here, like KPR, like Shanmugavel, like, I can just keep going on and on. And one of the mills only, like for example, Vijayalakshmi Mills family, V.L. Balakrishnan, V.L. Venkatapati and K.L. Varadarajan, they brought in the first moped in India, Suveha mopeds. So much that you can say, a bridge playing, A.R. Jagannathan, great bridge champion, K. Venkateswamy Naidu, this Kannapuram mills, originally they only founded. There were many mills from, you take an arc from Trichy Road, Avanashi Road, full of mills. No wonder Coimbatore was known as the Manchester of South India, but Manchester itself grabbed the title from only here. It should rightfully be called the Manchester of the Coimbatore of England, because so much of industry, so much of textiles. And Coimbatore is here to stay. We can look at design, we can look at technology, and we can look at fashion. And we are here to stay with textiles. And dear friends from the Rotary Club of Coimbatore Central, I'm grateful to you for giving me the freedom to talk about the 2000 years of textiles. For the first time, I've spoken on this subject in Coimbatore only with y'all as the audience. I'm grateful to you. There's a website called www.livehistoryindia.com, founded by Mini Menon and Akshay Chavan. in which I've written a book. I've written an article called Built on Cotton. Read that 3,000 word article. Much of what I've said is there. And there's also video by Live History India, which is also fantastic. Live History India is a premium heritage channel, online only, text and video with 1.6 million followers. I'm really grateful to so many of you who helped me to get this information, share this information, and also have the patience to listen to me talking about all this. And there have been fabulous mill owners like Jagdish Chandran, Sharat Chandran, and so on. I can go on and on. Each one of them have done amazingly well for our region and for the country and for the global textile industry.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. I think it was.
Thank you very much. Good day to all of you on this Vinayakar Chaturthi. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you. Thank you so much. Krishna Kumar, you can take over for question answer session.
Yeah. I think within this last 30 minutes, you have taken us across a journey of 2000 years. It's been absolutely amazing. I really don't know whether any other person can remember these kinds of names and that kind of detail without any perverting. Today, we have speakers who have to depend so much on a PowerPoint presentation to deliver something where there is no point. But here we have a speaker in Rajesh Govindarajulu, who, if you wake him up even in the middle of the night, can really tell you anything that has happened in history from any point, purely because of his passion and the kind of excellence that he has exhibited in this. So with these few words, I think we will move over briefly to the Q&A session. I think there are many of us who are very happy with this talk, particularly our editor Rajaram, because he has now found content for 3 issues of the Centrally, which will happen out of this particular talk alone, if we can make it in installments. So Rajaram is an extremely happy and delighted man, rid of all his worries today. Then we have had people like Suri and others who have been really listening it with a lot of interest. So I have one observation to make. Normally in societies, we see a transformation from education to industry and then wealth. But what you have said is in Coimbatore, we have had a reverse process where we have had farming to industry, wealth, and from there we have gone on to education. Is it true?
Correct. Many of these people were just knew how to read and write Tamil. That's all.
Yeah.
Seeing so many of them who learned little bit of English so that they could understand the telegrams with cotton prices and confirmation. My own great father, here Raj Chettiar also, he would ask me to read the telegram. He was there till when I was about 15. I alert at 90. He will say, what's in the telegram? I'll read it out. Then he will say, this is what has happened. He built a mill at the age of 61.
I think that was the supremacy of common sense over formal education which made this happen.
Absolutely.
I also have one small question for you with which I will open it out to other people. Coimbatore witnessed such a galaxy of leaders from the 40s to the 60s, which resulted in such a rapid growth. Do you think there has been a decline in the quality of leadership post 70 to the 90s, whether it is the social field where we had so much of influence earlier or the industrial field? Has there been a decline according to you in the quality of leadership or in terms of our participation in an all India level?
Oh yes. This has to do with the change of the structure of Indian politics after 1970, where our people from Coimbatore who were far more decent and gentle found it very difficult to, you use their coracles on the murky waters. They found it very difficult to manage. And plus, the socialist era made life difficult for them. Though people may complain and say mills were comfortable because of the license capacity, new entrants could not come in. We must understand the mills were built in an earlier era and they could raise capital. They had the freedom to act. That freedom to act largely got curtailed after the industrial policy resolution of 1956. And slowly the decline which set in then started taking an effect after 1970. And people were worried, the entrepreneurs had businessmen as their children, were softer, more suave, more educated, of course, very capable. They had the just responsibility of preserving the legacy of their elders also. So not everybody was keen to take such big risks that they took, that the elders took. They had nothing to lose, but also they were very bold. Vanam Partha Bhumi, dryland farmer, he knew how to take a risk. They were real entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And of course, I feel we should have an entrepreneur development institute where not in a most unformatted manner, without any affiliation to any university, we should teach them the old tricks so that we create another 100 good startups in the next few years.
So that is something that some of the first generation entrepreneurs of Rotary Central can also help, and the projects for Ashish Khemka, our president. So with this, we move over to a question from Sachin. He says, Sachin Kotecha says, there are a lot of bills which have come up in the last decades in Rajapalayam, Maruppukotte and Madurai, where they were all inspired by the growth in Coimbatore in those times.
Definitely, Madura courts and the mills of Coimbatore only. See, Kuppusamy Naidu, when he was building a mill, I believe the Madura courts person was wondering whether the Coimbatore man will complete. He completed in record time. And you look at the PSG family, they made so much of money. They purchased the Gandamanaiknur Zameen from somebody in Bombay. Gandamanaiknur Zameen is one of the 72 palayams in Theni district, one of the biggest palayams of the Nayak era. So with the money earned out of textile business, somebody could buy almost half a palayam, a Zameen itself. So naturally, if you are working in a mill, it's like working in import. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now there's a question from Sushila's iPad. I don't know who it is. It says Sushila's iPad. Sir, can you please give us a list of books that you have written and some sources from where you can get information?
I have not written any book at all because out of laziness. I have written about 500 or 600 articles thus far. In Hindu, in Ritz, in Live History India, Covey Metro, Covey Mail, Covey Post, Simplicity. Swarajya, of course. Swarajya also. So right, left and center. I have written, I think about 250 for Covey Metro, KOVAIMETRO, CoveyMetro.com. Then Simplicity.com. I think you can get information from all of that. And then, of course, Live History India has documented a lot of videos. 7 videos, which is fantastic. One of the videos, in fact, I have come in that video myself. Mahavir's family was very helpful for doing that video. Yes, next.
There's again another question from Sachin. In the meanwhile, he says, nowadays, we
talk of CSR, corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
All the mill schools, Rajalakshmi Mills High School, Mani High School, Gopal Naidu School, all these schools are all because of that only. And they planned Sarvajana School, of course, the school preceded the mill, but ESG, so much of work is family social responsibility, individual social responsibility, community social responsibility. You may call it whatever. Tengotaya, every year 1,000 people used to feed. And each one, T.A. Ramalingam Chettiar, Coimbatore Murugan Mills Limited, he had left money in his will for CSI school, Union High School or the London Mission School those days. So without the CSR Act itself, the Coimbatore people like Adiyaman Neduma Nanji, who gave Advai Kilaviki Karunelli Padatte Kuduttar, just as how Adiyaman Neduma Nanji gave the black gooseberry, life prolonging gooseberry to Abhaya, the people of this region have been doing enormous charity. It is very difficult to even put a
if anybody else has a question, they can unmute themselves and then ask. We can go on for 3 more questions now.
Good evening, Rajesh. This is Srimati from Madras.
Yes, Srimati, how are you?
Absolutely fine. A deluge of information. Like it was very, very interesting. I've been listening in. See, I have 2 questions. One is about Coimbatore's role in Swadeshi movement, at that point of time, if you could throw some light on it.
Yes,
And the
yes.
later one is about women entrepreneurs in textile business from Coimbatore. On these two issues, can you just
I
share
forgot
information?
to include two things. Now, thank you, Srimati. See,
Thank you, Ranjit.
the Swadesh movement, Kovai Kadar Ayyamuthu, he was secretary of the Khadi Association. He was very close to Gandhi. He was an eminent freedom fighter and student of Rajaji. His book, Another Ninaivagal, will throw a lot of light about the cotton scenario. He lived until 1973. Kadar Endral Ayyamuthu, Ayyamuthu Endral Kadar. When he resigned, Gandhi said he will also resign without Kadar Ayyamuthu. He won't proceed with Kadar, and Ayyamuthu had to withdraw his resignation. And then there was this fabulous cotton merchant called Chennimalai Krishna Chetty, whose house, I think one property is Lakshmi Mills property on Avinashi Road where Krishna Towers is. Another one is the TV Brothers property where Telephone Exchange is there. Chennimalai Krishna Chetty was an eminent cotton merchant whose wife used to wear gold tassels for her sari. She had a huge diamond necklace, probably 40-45 carats, with all 9 and 10 cent diamonds. The first large, modern, brilliant cut diamond necklace in Coimbatore. And he lost money in the Great Depression of 1929-30, and the necklace was bought by our family in 1930s. Until it was recently, given off to the next generation. That was the biggest diamond necklace in town, which used to go for all the brides. Whoever got married, they used to take it from us. All the mill owner bahus or marmagals used to wear this diamond necklace. I'm planning to do a limited edition of that necklace if somebody wants to buy, with numbering, of course. And role of women. Yes, I totally forgot to tell you that there was a hardy farmer woman, Kinnamal Rangasamy Naidu, wife of V. Rangasamy Naidu of Radhakrishna Mills. When she got married and came to Pilamedu, she found that the husband and brother-in-law could have newer techniques to farm. She worked really hard. And for her husband, she added to his income. And the money that she earned and gave, people say that it became his personal contribution as capital to Radhakrishna Mills Limited 90 years ago. She was supposed to be a very lucky lady, and her son Venkateswamy Naidu shone like the sun in her lifetime.
Any other question, please?
And many other women were, of course, there who were involved with the administration. Not much of it is known outside, like Chandrakanti Govindarajulu looked after the institutions. And she also perhaps participated in the administration of their family businesses.
So can I ask one question?
Yeah.
I'm Sushila
Yeah.
from Chennai. So I
Okay.
work in the tourism department as a French tour guide. It was
Yeah.
very, very, very interesting about this textiles, because we do speak a lot about textiles to tourists when we go to Kanchipuram. And so it was very, very enlightening talk by you, sir. And what I want to, who was the first person to get this, who was the first person to have an idea of starting something like this in Coimbatore?
Textile
Narasimha Naidu, who went to Bombay for the Indian National Congress meeting, wanted to start a mill, and eventually Sir Robert Stein started. So that's the first mill, European, first Indian mill was Kaliswarar.
Okay. Okay.
By
Thank you, sir.
P. Somasundaram Chettiar.
Which year would that be?
Not exactly, closer to 1900.
Okay. Okay, sir.
The
Thank you,
first
sir.
Victorian mill, Rangavilas mill, 1922, Radhakrishna, I think 1923 or 1924.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much for your time, for your
Really-
questions.
really
It was very, very, very informative, enlightening, and interesting, sir. All of it rolled together. Thank you.
And really nice to have people from as far away as Chennai attending Rajesh's talk today. So we have one last question to go before we wind up.
Okay.
It could be anybody.
The question would be that why Rajesh is not writing a book still.
You can edit what I've written. I'm very lazy. It's easier to write. Of course, you have to salute the advocates and the chartered accountants. Jagannathan Viswanathan, Subbacharyan Srinivasan, who were the personal auditors and also the corporate auditors. There are many others too. And C.P. Hariachar, the son of C.M. Padmanabhachar, whom I've forgotten. Hariachar was a leading auditor. Many of the mills, I think, were audited by all of them. People like Mr. Vittal or T.S. Raghavendran are more qualified to talk on that matter. M.S. Jagannatha Iyengar's brother, M.S. Srinivasan, in fact, used to say, while talking about this, I still have the case sheet with me. The closing value of cotton, the closing value of material, everything is considered, but the currency, the cash on hand and cash on bank is inflation ridden. The closing value is never determined, but it is left as it is. There we go. The bright chartered accountants from Coimbatore who did wonders for our textile industry. We should salute them again.
So to answer this question, I think Rajesh needs a scribe like Ganesha who he can talk and then somebody can write for him. It will be really great. And we wish that on Vinayaka Chaturthi he is able to get a scribe who will make this task of writing this book a reality. So thank you so much. I think
Thank you.
it's been a very wonderful session, and over to our president.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. Thank you so much for that speech. You truly are an encyclopedia on the subject. I can now relate so much more about textiles in Coimbatore. Thank you once again, Rajesh. Now I request Rotarian Rajkumar to propose vote of thanks, please.
So happy evening to all. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, okay. So happy evening to all. My heartful and sincere thanks to Mr. Rajesh Govindarajulu for having accepted to deliver his talk about history of textiles to all our members today. I'm really very impressed about his extensive study, amazing, and the way he is presented about the evolution of textiles in our area for the last 2000 years. Thanks once again. Otherwise, we wouldn't have, a lot of us, definitely, I'm sure we wouldn't have known otherwise. My thanks to PDG Pratap Gokul Das, members of G39 members and all our members for having taken time to attend this session. Wish you all a great weekend. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you, Rotarian Rajkumar.